Hello, my name is Luby, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo and the Hanako route. There's chirping birds, but there's no sound effects for them right now, so we just have to trust Hisao on that. Before we start, I just want to say I recorded like 5 minutes of this already, and then I realized that my mic wasn't being picked up by OBS for some reason. It should be working now, but oh man, okay, I'm gonna know what happens in the next 5 minutes. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Normally, this would be a good time to reflect upon the beauty of nature, but it is 6 a.m. Covering my head with the pillow, I slam my face into the mattress, hoping that the impact will send me instantly back to sleep. Futile. I toss and turn, but sleep simply won't return to me. Alright, nature, you've won. See, I'm getting up now. The lack of sleep weighs my mind down, and there's only one remedy for this: a nice, hearty breakfast. Very smart man, Hisao is. It would be nice to be the first person here, to be the first to dig into a piping hot pile of food, to sit wherever I desire. It would have been nice, but even my exceptionally early start has put me behind the most diligent students. I guess there are quite a few people that have early starts here for one reason or another. A group of students in sports clothes huddle around one table, eagerly discussing game plans in between inhaling great gulps of food. Scattered around the hall are a number of bleary-eyed students, probably suffering the same ailment as myself. Noisy birds that don't have sound effects. And of course, there are the people that actually enjoy getting up this early, the ones with their bags stuffed with textbooks and completed homework. It's hard not to despise people like that, even more so when you're tired yourself. Picking out a familiar face from the thin crowd, I head towards the nearest table. Oh, Lilly sits alone, delicately feeling her way around a small plate of eggs with her fork. I just want to say, I am a little bit sick right now, so if you hear some sniffling, a cough, or like me not being able to get the voices right, then it is completely my fault. I am so sorry that I got sick. I got sick on purpose. It is my fault. I am so sorry. It's almost a shame to interrupt her in her clockwork movements. I wonder, is this how a blind person zones out? Simply moving in predetermined patterns learned over the years, just like how a sighted person would eat while reading a newspaper. Good morning, Lilly. I didn't expect you to be here this early. Oh, Hisao, you startled me. I didn't know you took breakfast this early. I don't. This is an exception to the rule. I greatly prefer to be late to school than early to breakfast. Lilly gives a small sigh in my admitted tardiness as I begin eating my food. It doesn't take long for her to lapse back into her previous mindless nibbing. Each short motion lacks energy. I suppose this is similar to letting your eyes wander while performing any ordinary chore. But after a few repetitions of the find food, eat food cycle, Lilly puts down her fork and dabs her lips with a napkin. Hisao, do you mind if I ask you a question? Damn. All I want is a little food and about 4 hours of sleep, and nobody says, can I ask you a question for a simple question? Sure. Do you think of Hanako as a friend? This seems like a leading question. I guess so. What do you ask? No real reason. I do have another question, though. Why is it that you think of her as a friend? This is well above my level. What is she expecting from me? I'm not really sure. I guess it's because she's a little different in the way she deals with people. Since I've known her, she hasn't really connected with anyone. She doesn't seem interested in other people, and I think people are a little scared off by her appearance. Really? I thought that kind of thing was, well, discouraged here. Discriminating and such. If I were to put it one way... She furrows her brow in thought, a move which makes me slightly anxious as to what she's plucking from her mind. I'd say that you're a little naive. Naive? I'd be insulted enough with a slightly cynical grin on her face. I see. While Yamaku has a stronger sense of community compared to other schools, it's far from being free of conflict. Rules cannot remove human nature after all, only suppress it. That's something I've noticed, actually. Just little things, like how certain people in cliques avoid each other in the hallways. It's no different than my old school, really. Even Lilly and Shizune could be considered bitter rivals, even though they both seem like fairly accepting people. Well, at least the Misha-tinted Shizune does. Who knows what's actually going on with her fingers and behind her glasses. Yeah, we kind of found out that stuff last time. I guess you're right, but when I first came here, everything was a bit of a shock. I kept on making mistakes, or at least thinking I was making mistakes. Like when we first met and I said, I see, to you. I didn't know if that was considered rude or anything, so I tried to just put it in the back of my mind, treating people any differently and that kind of thing. So I didn't. I told myself that Hanako and you and everyone else was just normal, and I tried to ignore the obvious. I talked to Hanako as if she were any other person, and so we became friends. At least, that's how I think it happened. But, I feel guilty just from saying something like that aloud. As if it took extra effort to think of Hanako or you or anyone here as normal people. I don't think that's right. Hisao, I think that you are naive, but I also think that you are a good person. It is perhaps one of your better traits. I suppose I can take that as a compliment. Yeah, you can. It's a very good compliment. Tell me, are you free tonight? If you don't count homework, then I'm as free as the breeze. Free as the breeze, baby. In that case, would you care to join myself and Hanako for tea? I don't really have that much money at the moment, so going out isn't really... Oh, I didn't mean going out. Just here, this evening. You can access the classrooms in the evening here? No, that's not what I meant. Hanako and I often use my room for tea parties together. Please feel free to drop by after dusk. Sure, I see no problem with that. What's the room number? 225. Room 25 on the second floor. Okay, sure. Well then, I'd best be off. I have class representative duties to attend to, after all. Until this evening, Isao. Yeah, catch you later. Hang on. Was I just invited to a girl's room after hours? Is that even allowed? There is the curfew here, but I've never heard any rules about visitors in the dorm rooms. Even still, this is enough to get my sleep-deprived brain jump-started. Add that to a lukewarm breakfast, and you have one hell of a pick-me-up. I grudgingly go to class, still a little excited at the prospect of breaking the rules. What a delinquent rule breaker. I feel a little like a kid planning to sneak out of his window at night. Well, maybe that's going a little too far, but when you compare an invitation to a party to when you compare an invitation to a party to 6 or so hours of lectures, I know which one wins. Okay, that sentence was a little weird to read. Misha and Chizune do little to relieve my boredom either. For once, they seem determined to actually complete Muto's assignments. Nevertheless, the day eventually winds to a close. I hurry back to my room to wash up and comb my hair. Thankfully, I don't run into Kenji. Before long, I am leaving the boys' dorm. I nervously rap on the door and mark 225, check my watch once again. Is that you, Hisao? The door is open. You can come in. Lily's voice lilts through the door and soothes my nerves. Is lilts a word? This is the first time I've been invited to a girl's room after dark. Ooh. Even though I know there's no ulterior motive behind this invitation, it doesn't stop my mind running wild with possibilities. Calm down, man. One guy, 2 girls, only one comes out. In a dorm room with a tea set. When I put it like that, it sounds a little dodgy. Giving a small sigh to steady myself, I gingerly put my hand on the handle and open the door, craning my head to see inside. Hey, look, it's the exact same CG as was on Lily's route. Wow. The door opens completely and I catch my first glimpse of Lily's room. Her furniture looks almost antique, but the bare walls and flat surfaces are barely decorated at all. In the center of the room sits a low table where I see a small tea set at rest. It seems that everything in this room has its place, possibly excepting the several piles of books stacked up against the wall. My sense of vision isn't the only one to be stimulated. The faint smell of something can be picked up in the air. Nail polish, perfume, makeup. It's hard to describe in any way other than girly. Ew. My eyes finish their quick sweep of the room before returning their position onto the girls. Right, I remember this. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm reading this again. I'm totally reading this again. Lily sits next to a small table wearing very dark blue pajamas. Dark blue pajamas with shorts that show off plenty of her alluring pale legs. Opposite her, Hanako sits adorned in a conservative light pink gown. It sounds like Hisao's like a runway commentator. A fashion show commentator? I don't know what it's called. I think fashion show. Her hands are firmly fixed between her legs, her shoulders forward, and her head down as if trying to hide herself in it. It would be easy for her to do. It looks about 2 sizes too big for her. Waves of flannel flow from her frame, making her look like a child playing dress up in her parents' clothes. Get her off the runway. She looks up to confirm my identity, and the beginnings of a thin smile creep across her face before vanishing so fast that I can't be sure they were ever there. There's no point in you standing in the doorway, Hisao. I take a step into the room, closing the door behind me. My, I'm afraid this really is a small room for the 3 of us. Oh, wait, would you like to take a seat? I slowly walk to the table and sit down, trying my hardest not to disturb anything along the way. I also can't help but steal a quick glance into Lily's top. As I said, this isn't her route, bro. Calm down. To be robbed of sight would be a most terrible fate. Calm down. Calm down, Isao. Well now, how about some tea? Hanako, could you please pour? Sure. His Sao, would you, would you like? I would love some tea. Do you need a hand? No, I'm fine. Thank you. Lily finds it difficult to resist a smile at her companion's nervousness, something I can't really blame her for. Been a tiring day? Yeah. I relax in my place, opposite of the cabinet. To my left is blue cad Lily, and to my right sits the pink Hanako. In the blue corner, we have Lily. In the pink corner, we have Hanako. Who will win? Only one person will come out of this arena tonight. Who would win in a fight? Who would win in a fight between Lily and Hanako? Now that I'm thinking of it. Okay. So some important stuff to take to note. I think, I'm just guessing here. Lily is the more physically strong one. She seems like she would be. I mean, she's taller. You know, bigger build. Like, I think Lily could, like, grab Hanako and slam her, but I don't think Hanako could grab Lily and slam her, you know? But, like, then we have to keep in mind that Lily is blind. That is a disadvantage when it comes to fighting. Hanako's, like, burn doesn't seem to, like, I don't know if that affects her. I guess it would hurt to, like, punch her more in those areas. So she has, like, a weak spot, I guess. Very important. Okay, but Lily wouldn't know where those weak spots are because she's blind. I think Lily would still win, though, because, you know, all she has to do is run out with, like, her arms open and then just slam Hanako and she wins. Unless Hanako, like, you know, goes for it and, like, does some really big, strong punches to her face while she's running at her. But I don't think Hanako's the type to punch really hard. Why am I talking about this? The tea set on the table looks cute as well as practical, painted red with the floral motif. It looks odd when contrasted with Lily's plain but generally sophisticated looking furniture, which leads me to think that Hanako might have picked it out. There is a slight ting when Hanako accidentally clips a teapot onto a cup as she's pouring. She breathes in sharply. I can't do that because my nose is like clogged. She must be really nervous, as it's not the kind of thing anyone would worry about. Hanako quivers at her mistake. It's okay, Hanako. There's no need to be nervous. Hanako seems to find some confidence in Lily's reassuringly soft-spoken words and deftly pours the next 2 cups. Here you are, Hisao. Lily. Hanako carefully places a cup and saucer in front of Lily and myself. I could get used to service like this. Thank you, Hanako. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. Lily searches for a cup and, upon finding it, sips delicately. I do the same. This tea tastes somewhat better than the tea we usually have at school. This is nice. It's so different from any tea I had before. Looks like you picked the right one, Hanako. You've done well, even if it was a bold move. Hanako's smile returns, redoubled. Even with her blighted face, her shy smile couldn't be called anything but cute. Really, Isao, you had to say blighted? I'm glad you like it. Hanako, finally beginning to relax, sips from her cup. Something about this makes me think about Lily's question at breakfast. Yeah, she was really forward. I'm pretty sure she's trying to matchmake us. Why am I friends with Hanako? Or that question, sure. Lily seems genuinely concerned for Hanako's well-being, but it's not like I can do anything to help her. As far as I can tell, her scars don't hold her back physically, and everyone I've met seems to have overcome their disabilities to some extent. I don't have any ulterior motives to hang out with Hanako. We just share similar interests. Isn't that enough? So, Isao, are you enjoying yourself? Lily's word break me out of my reverie, and I take a second to reconsider where I am. I'm in a room with 2 girls in their bedclothes. You know, this is something to be enjoyed. Yeah, it's relaxing, almost like I'm not in the school anymore. Do you do this often? Quite often, but not as often as you take tea in the school building. Considering they do that nearly every day, that's not a big surprise. As I move to take another sip from my teacup, I find it sadly empty. That was delicious. Thank you, Hanako. Lily. You're welcome. Yes, you're most welcome, Isao. It's nice to have a third person here. Well, anytime you need someone to fill that position, I'm always available. Always. Or Kenji. He's always available too. One must be sure to get one's point across in these circumstances. Lily lets loose a yawn, which she unsuccessfully hides with her hand. Pardon me, I think I'm a little tired. I think we're all a little tired. My, how astute we are tonight, Hanako. We really should head to bed. We all have class tomorrow. Yeah, I should go. Thank you for your presence, Isao. That's a really weird, but I think that's a very nice compliment. Thanks. You'll come again? Not even a whole army could stop me. I'm impressed by your determination, Isao. Either way, you're right. We'd best get going. I stand up and make for the door. Hanako gingerly stands up behind me. I stop and face her. Are you coming with me? Hanako instantly blossoms into full blush. No, this room isn't... It's okay, I was only joking. Oh, okay. Good night. Good night, Hanako. Good night, Isao. Night all. And with that, our tea party finishes. I'm still not sure what it is that Lilly wants me to do for Hanako, but I don't want to let her down. I'm pretty sure she just wants you to date her, dude. I wait until the door is closed behind us before turning to Hanako. Hey, Hanako, you don't have to be nervous around me or anything. I mean, we're friends, right? Right, we're friends. If you ever want to hang out or anything, just let me know. We still need to have that chess rematch, remember? Sure, but I don't think you'll win. It wouldn't be any fun if it was easy. Hanako seems to give a muted laugh, but she could have just as easily been exhaling. Hey, exhaling is laughing. Good night, Isao. With that, Hanako quickly retreats into her room, located next to Lilly's. I start to walk back to my dorm, but the simple act of walking seems to drain me of my energy. I barely make it to my room before I'm hit by a wave of exhaustion. I kick off my shoes, fall into bed, and fall asleep by the time my head hits the pillow. I have to wonder, I really hope this wasn't, explained in Lilly's route, because I don't want to seem forgetful, but did they ever explain how, Lilly and Hanako met? Was it just, fate? I really hope I'm not forgetting. I pull my door closed, ready for another day of classes. Oh, no. You know what? This actually might be good with my, congestion. I might be able to do Kenji's voice a little better. Ahem. Hey, sleep well? Kenji's sudden arrival makes me jump, and I narrowly avoid butting heads with him. I know he has poor eyesight, but he knows who I am now. Does he still have to stand this close? Oh, yeah, like a baby. Damn, why do people say that? Have you ever heard of babies sleep? They scream all night, every night. Babies don't sleep well, ever. Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speech with Kenji. Alright, I get your point. It was a figure of speech. Yeah, sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor to ask, but you weren't around. For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth, that I was spending time with Hanako and Lilly. Thankfully, that split second passes as soon as it came. I was just out, checking out the local area and stuff, recon. Good, man, good. I knew you were the type to plan ahead. Anyway, what was this favor you wanted? I was gonna get some takeout, but I needed change. Wait, what? I gave you money last week and you still haven't paid me back. And I was starting to think you were cool. Oh my god, I don't want to seem gross when it went spit went all over my mic. Oh no, oh god. I think we're good. I think we're good now. Not all over. It was one drop of spit. God. And I was starting to think you were cool. Kenji fishes around in his pocket and produces his wallet. As he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I can clearly see at least two 10,000 yen notes. That's $200, right? Hey, what the hell? Why are you borrowing money off me when you got that much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing that he's been had. Get out of my case, man. It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half its value. It's the tycoon's rule. Last night's dinner is gonna cost me 7 years of bad luck. 7 years. Don't you think it's enough cause to help someone out? I get a shorter sentence if I just stole the stuff. My common sense screams me to say something to him, but thankfully I restrain myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji will just lead to further and more complicated discussions. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe we should plan these things a little better? Yeah, man, I know. But we got so much stuff to do, it's hard. And you're never around anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers in brotherhood, remember? Yeah, I get you. Global conspiracy and such. I'll keep my ears to the ground. Kenji draws close enough for me to get a clear whiff of his garlic-tainted breath. Ugh. You'd better, man. You're already spending less time here. That's the first thing they do. They'll try to split us up, divide, and conquer. Sun Tzu said that. Roger that. Now I've got to be going. I've got classes. You coming? Nah, I'm tired. I stayed up all night just to make sure nothing was going to happen after splitting that note. As rational as ever, I see. Whatever. Night. Kenji scurries back into his room and I hear him throwing his locks as I walk down the hallway. God, how does Kenji manage to graduate? That is why some people can't roll their tongue or why their second toe is longer than the big toe. Muto beams a half-moon smile at us, obviously proud of his explanation of recessive genes. However, no matter how impressed he is with the science that defines who we are, the classroom seems to be reduced to a stupor. Why is it that a bad explanation can make even the most interesting things seem worthless? That's why you need good teachers, man. A bad teacher will fuck you up. I think Muto's a good teacher, right? Yeah, Muto's good. I can see Muto deflate as he realizes that nothing he's said in the past half hour is sunk in. Whispered conversations start to break the silence, and like an avalanche, the noise level in the class starts to rise. Defeated, Muto identifies some questions from the textbook and sets to clearing off the blackboard. Almost as if expected, Hanako packs up her things and leaves as soon as people start talking and laughing among themselves. The initial shock of seeing someone play so blatantly truant has started to fade, but it doesn't stop me from wondering. Is she leaving because she doesn't want people to speak to her, or is it just the thought of people around her shattering her peace? Before I can think about the topic any further, the lunch bells ring. I wonder if she was simply taking the opportunity to leave early. The usual clamor of students exchanging books for lunch reverberates around the room, and while Misha is distracted, I grab my lunch and head out the door. Lilly already sits in the tea room, setting out her lunch alone. So, Hanako's not here then? Oh, Asao, how are you? I haven't met Hanako since this morning, I'm afraid. That's right, Hanako and Lilly live next to each other. Somehow I think their morning conversations are slightly more grounded than Kenji's ramblings. That's strange. She left class early, so I figured that she'd come here. So she's still leaving class early? Huh? Yeah, I've seen her do it a few times. Lilly drops her head a little, and her tone of voice is noticeably depressed. It's very reminiscent of someone who is used to hearing bad news. I was so sure that she'd stop doing that once you two became friends. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose. Well, I was wondering about just that today. Why exactly does she leave? I'm not entirely sure myself. I personally think it's because she doesn't want to be put in a situation where she has to answer someone. I guess it was a good idea I didn't involve her in that conversation with Shizune and Misha then. I have a flashback of my first meeting with her when I thought she looked like a cornered animal. Maybe I wasn't far from the truth. But she seems fine with talking to you, and with me, a bit. It's a little more complex than that. I imagine that the first thing most people ask her is about her scars and what happened. She rarely talks about it with me, but I can tell her she doesn't like to remember whatever happened back then. Leaving class and running away from discussions is her preemptive strike, if you will. Huh. So then, how does that explain her talking to me? You said it yourself yesterday at breakfast. You tried to ignore her scars. Once she saw that you weren't going to ask her about that, she opened herself up to you. I guess you're right. Maybe. I don't know. You know her better than I, so I'll take your word for it. I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure you'll come to know her as well as I do soon enough. I welcome the prospect of her having a new friend, and the two of you have such similar interests. Well, I hardly count reading as a team sport. It is good to have company, though. Oh yeah? It's not a team sport? What do you think a book club is, Hisao? That's my point. Hanako is still an average person at heart. She also wants company at times like that. Huh, see, I think. To be honest, both of you still confuse me a little. That's only natural, Hisao. You've only known each other for a little while. It's unreasonable to expect you to understand us, just as we can't understand you. But that is half the fun of becoming friends, right? Yes it is. That's the journey. That's the adventure. Although, I suppose there is a matter of us being opposite genders. Men and women do seem to confuse each other quite often. She says this with a light giggle, finding amusement at the odd little details of life. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to start eating. No, go ahead. I'll think eat something too. I've got some books I want to drop back to the library before classes start, so I'd better get a move on. You'll probably find Hanako there as well. If you do see her, can you tell her to stop by my room later tonight? I'd like to talk to her. You're not coming? Unfortunately, I have a class representatives meeting later, so I'll be gone as soon as I finish my lunch. Okay then. If I don't see her in the library, then I'll tell her in class. I'm sure she'll be back after lunch. We fall silent as we start to eat, and I take a second to reflect on our conversation. I've always thought that Hanako's shyness was simply due to her being self-conscious of her scars. But that is a pretty superficial way of looking at her. Just when I thought I was able to see through the fog of Lilly and Hanako, I realized that I'm more lost than when I started. Lilly quickly finishes her lunch, acutely aware of her meeting. I don't blame her. Shizune is most likely going to be there, and I doubt she wants to give her the satisfaction of another argument. I must be off. Same time tomorrow. Same time, same channel. I'd better head off too. I don't want to risk being late. Lilly smiles gently, picks up her cane, and walks out into the hall. I turn my back on Lilly as we head in opposite directions. For some reason, I find myself hoping she doesn't get into another fight with Shizune. As much as I like Lilly, Shizune and Misha have been pretty instrumental in helping me adjust, even if half our conversations are thinly veiled recruitment attempts. Then again, I barely know either of them. Maybe they were previously leaders of some kind of secret society, but their love for each other drove them apart. Man, I need to stop reading cheap fiction. It's rotting my brain. Either that or I've got to move away from Kenji and his bad influence. It's sad that I can't tell the two apart anymore. I slide my books down the return chute and they crash into the cart with a pleasant thud. Yuko, however, doesn't seem as impressed as I. Hisao, you scared me. Sorry, I thought you'd be used to that by now. Whereas the literacy level here is so low that nobody borrows any books. Huh? No, I think everyone here can read fine. Yeah, never mind. There are some battles you can never win. Trying to explain jokes is one of them. My dad taught me that the hard way. Wow, we're hearing lore about Hisao's dad. Wow. Say, Yuko, have you seen Hanako about? She left class early, but she wasn't in her usual hiding place. I think I saw her sneak in before lunch. Oh, but I'm not supposed to tell anyone that. I just told you that I saw her leave. No need to stress out. Oh, of course. She's probably in the back. Thanks. Got any new books in recently? No, sorry. I'll let you know when we do, though. Okay. If there's one thing I know about librarians, part-time or otherwise, it's that they appreciate people who take a genuine interest in their work. I walk the now familiar path to Hanako's reading nook, picking out a few titles along the way. Sometimes I find it hard to discover a book that will interest me among the shelves. An author's name and a two-word title don't mean much in a sea of similar words. For that reason, I sometimes reread books that I read in the past. Better to bet on the favorite than a new runner. An unfamiliar title from a familiar author peeks out among the spines of its neighbors, so I remove it from the shelf. At least I'm not going over old material. As expected, Hanako sits in her beanbag, buried deep in a copy of Dance, 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 Revolution. Hi, Hanako, how's it going? I fought back the urge to ask why she left class early. If Lily's suspicions were right, then asking her about that could have the opposite effect. Best to leave it for the time being. Sometimes the best way to get an answer from someone is to never ask the question. Hello, Hisao. I'm fine. Something seems off, and after a couple of seconds, I realize what it is. Hanako's smiling. She looks as if she's pleased to see me. It's a nice change from the usual instinctively frightened reaction, and something I hope I can see more of as we get to know each other better. Good to hear. How's that book? I've heard it's a trip. It's good, I think. I've only just started it, so I don't really know. Fair enough. Let me know how it goes. I may borrow it once you're done. Sure. There's a good 15 minutes left in lunch. Not enough to really get into a book, but too much to stand around doing nothing. And Hanako's already returned to her reading, so I doubt I'll get much conversation from her. Oh well, I'd better make myself comfortable. I slouch into a beanbag and crack open my book. The familiar style of the author leaps out at me from the very first line. As the sentences turn to paragraphs, I start to relax a little. But no matter how I try, I can't seem to get myself into the atmosphere of the book. This is partly due to the lack of the time, but the more distracting factor is Hanako. Every 10 or so seconds, she peers over the top of her book, but when her eyes meet, she quickly ducks behind the covers. That is so adorable. I guess she did want to talk about something after all. What's up? You look like a prairie dog on lookout. It's nothing. I told you before, nothing means something when you say it like that. Hanako squirms a little in her beanbag, hoping that by changing her position, she'll find the words she's looking for. I was in an accident. An accident just now? Are you alright? Hanako shakes her head, her hair flowing around her shoulders in wisps of amethyst on a background of pale and dark flesh. No. When I was younger. Realization crashes into me like a semi. When I was... It's alright, Hanako. You don't have to tell me anything if you don't want to. Again, she shakes her head. No, I have to tell you. When I was young, I was in a fire. My house burnt down, and I nearly didn't make it. After that, I was alone. Hanako's eyes glisten in the dim light of the library, and I reach out to grasp her hand. It's okay, Hanako. You don't have to keep going. But I have to. Why? What brought this on? Last night, Lilly told me about your heart, and I didn't think it was fair. Fair? That I knew about you, but you didn't know about me. I squeezed Hanako's hand a little. Don't be silly, but yeah, I have a heart condition. I lean a little closer to Hanako. What I didn't tell Lilly is that I had my first attack when a girl confessed to me. I smile a little to break the tension. Really? Really, I haven't heard from her for a while though, so I guess it's all over. I know it's all over. There's no other way to interpret what happened the last time I saw her. In some ways, not having heard from her again has helped me move on from that period of my life. So now we both know a little more about each other. But you don't have to talk about things if you don't want to. In fact, I feel a little bad even thinking about that whole incident. I can almost smell the hospital's disinfectant burning the back of my sinuses again. I imagine Hanako is going through the same thing now. When I was in the hospital, I went to the burn ward once, and only once. I was bored, so I went for a walk through all the wards. I went through oncology and thought I could take it, but when I got to the burn ward, I turned around and went back to my bed. To think that Hanako would have spent months in a place like that, smelling nothing but corrupted skin, strong and disinfectant and sterilized air. The really bad cases were kept in isolated pods that no foreign objects could enter. That would have meant no reading. I would have gone insane if I didn't have my books in the hospital. And she said she was alone. Did her parents die? I'll have to ask Lilly about it. I can imagine myself saying something dumb and unintentionally. Thank you, Hisao. I haven't told many people about this. To be honest, I haven't told many people about my circumstances either. Then I won't tell anyone either. Deal. I changed my grip on Hanako's hand to a handshake as the warning bells chimed through the window. Well, then we'd better head back to class, huh? Sure. Wait a minute, that was the entire act? Act 3. Castling. Okay, no wonder we were moving fast. Because the Act 2 is already over. Okay, I was expecting that to last, like, I don't know, like at least 4 episodes. But no, 2 episodes and we've done it. We're good. Okay, Act 2 had a really fast pace to it. But I can't say I didn't like it. I kind of liked the faster pace and not meandering around. Just getting right to it. But anyway, that's all the time I have for today's episode of Katawa Shoujo. Hanako opened up to us a little. It's very nice. But unfortunately, we're in Act 3, so you know what that means. Conflict and drama. I'll see you then for all of that. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.